Hello, hello. Welcome back to Mom Talks with your host, Sarah Denton. I am here today with another little rant. I just want to talk about asking for help, how important it is for moms to ask for help. Oh my goodness, we all hate to do it. If you are anything like me, you are a prideful person. You like to think that once you become a mom, you should have all of the answers figured out. You get all the books, you watch the videos, you YouTube it, you Google it, and you may ask your doctor and your nurses questions, but at the same time, it so often you're like, "Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you doing today? I'm fine." I know that that's my default answer is I'm good. How are you today? I'm good. Like doing well. And so often we aren't actually doing so hot, are we? Especially adjusting to motherhood. And it doesn't matter if you have babies, brand new babies, or if you have kids that are moving into college. I mean, the stressors are different with each stage, but the stressors are still there with each stage. And it brings a whole new anxiety and new worries and new fears to every stage that you go through with your kids. And, how blessed are we to be able to go through those stages with our children? And I never want to take away from that. But so many times, once we have our babies, we kind of fall on the back burner. And that's partly it's our fault because we don't, that's not to, I just started, I just talked about mom guilt and letting that go. So, me saying it's our fault is not to add more guilt to the situation. Absolutely not. The reason I want to say that is so that, maybe that inspires us a little bit to take more accountability of our own health and our own mindset and to actually be willing to ask for help when we need help. And I can even remember my husband saying, "Do you need help with that?" And I'm like, "No, I've got it." When really, in the back of my head, right before he asked, I was like, "Really use somebody to help me with this." And it's a learning process, and I am right in the middle of it, learning how to say, "Yes, can you help me with that?" Even my son, who is 9, and giving him chores and different things to do, in my head, it's so much faster if I do some of those chores, but obviously that's not the reason why he's given the chores. It's to help teach him about his own responsibility and accountability. But I'm in my head, I'm like, I just want to do it to get it done faster. But in actuality, I could be delegating my own time to something else and allow him to help me by completing that task. And our health, our mental health, our physical health, a lot of times after having babies, things change with our bodies and it makes us uncomfortable. At least it has, it made me uncomfortable. And I'll talk about that in a future episode as well. Some of the different trials and tribulations that I've been through after having kids and changes that happen. And, we don't understand, we're embarrassed about some of the things that happen to our bodies or the ways that our bodies adjust, or right after we have babies and we're having a problem nursing, we can't get the baby to latch, but we don't want to feel like a failure. Whatever it may be, let go of that feeling of pride. Set your pride aside and actually reach out and ask, even if it's through, Facebook has so many groups now. I know that you can call your nurses anytime. I know that you can call doctors, and there are different websites that you can go to as well for support groups. Whatever you need to do, don't be ashamed. Anytime anybody asks me for help inside, I feel giddy. I feel like, especially not if I don't know how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, then I'm like, let me find the answer for you. And then I go on this mission with you. So even in that case, it can help because it puts two people to solve the problem, which means more than one person has the problem. But, you know, if it's something that I already know how to do, I am more than happy to help. I am not only happy to help, I am ecstatic and it makes me feel fulfilled to be able to serve, serve my fellow mama in that way. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So whenever you ask for help and someone actually has an opinion, that will actually help build your connection, especially as moms. And the fact that we tend to isolate ourselves even from each other, this will help kind of bridge that gap by saying, here are my struggles. What do you do when you come, when you come against that struggle? And this is not about judgment. This is not about, saying that you're wrong or, oh my gosh, you didn't know how to do that. It is simply about finding answers. And I mean, I just recently, I had a hard time nursing really both of my kids. My son was a lot easier, but then he started biting at about 6 months. And my little girl, though, she was born early and her blood sugar was low. And so, in order to keep from her, little heel that was already so bruised up from being stuck with that needle to check her blood sugar every hour or so, they said that they could give her formula, because formula has higher sugar content. And I was like, whatever keeps her in my room. I don't want her to go to the NICU. I don't want her to be in pain. Whatever's going to help. So then after we left the hospital, she was used to formula and she had a hard time latching. And because she was a preemie and I had preeclampsia and I was having a hard time producing as well. And I was super stressed out, which, as breastfeeding moms, that does not help. That makes it worse. But I ended up feeling so guilty for the longest time. I would pump as much as I can and I would, try to nurse her as much as I could and feed her whatever milk I could. But anyways, through, it felt unsuccessful. I mean, after about 3 months, I basically ended up giving up and I felt like a failure because, at least with my son, I had been able to nurse longer and I wanted my babies to be the healthiest they could be. Fast forward 3.5 years later, I have a friend who was unable to nurse her child, but she had previously been nursing and wanted her baby to stay on breast milk as long as possible, and if I could help with that. So I started reaching out to different Facebook groups and local Facebook groups, and I found a community of moms, of women that supplied me, which then made me able to supply her with over 3 deep freezers full of breast milk. Now, I mean, I was able, these women just asking for help and posting, most of these women I had never met before. Most of these women, didn't know me, from anybody else in the crowd. And they were giving me their addresses saying, come over and I'll give you the milk. And they just wanted to help. And like, I have chills right now, even talking about it. Like, that should be proof enough that if you just ask for help, there will be someone willing to provide it. And don't be ashamed. We all have different struggles in different areas, and what I may struggle in, you may be 100% successful in, and may be able to teach me, a thing or 1,000 things. And it's important for us to share. It will make us feel fulfilled, and it will kind of differentiate us from just the mom feeling that we get sometimes. And it will also help our fellow moms. And, and that also goes to postpartum depression. I know that it has become more evident and there is more support out there than there ever has been, but it is still something that so many women, they feel discouraged, they feel ashamed by it because, they have their babies and they may not feel that connection right off the bat because they're dealing with their own struggles and their own torments. And that's not a bad thing. That doesn't make you a bad mama. That doesn't make you, that doesn't mean that you are always going to feel that way either. But it does mean that, maybe you need some help. And whether it's at first by seeking opinions of friends and family, and then, at that point, reaching out to a professional, it's so important to take care of yourself. You deserve the best version of you. Your babies deserve the best version of you. Your family deserves the best version of you. This world deserves the best version of you. And if that means, kind of sucking up your pride, tucking away the shame, let go of the shame. We are all human. Our bodies all do weird things. Our hormones, especially as women, all do crazy things, especially after having babies. We all have the issues. We all have the days, the bad days. And it's time to stop judging, and it's time to stop. I bet we judge ourselves way more than other people would judge us. And so what if other people judge us? If it helps us find our answers and find what we need to get the support that we need in order to help fix whatever issue is going on, that's what matters most, because that's going to enable you to come into this world as the best version of yourself. Other people's judgment has nothing to do with you. It has to do with themselves and, possibly some own insecurities. And we will save that for another time. But anyways, rant over. Please, 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 if you need help, get help. Reach out to support groups. Reach out to me. Email me, sarah@momtalkspodcast.com, and I will do my best to either help or to refer you to someone who can. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to reach out. I want to hold your hand. I want to give you hugs. And I know that there's so many other moms out there that want to do that as well. So in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. Please consider becoming a patron. That helps support this podcast. I am brand new to this whole thing, and I am trying to do my best and get better with each episode and sound quality, and any benefit that I can get from that. Please consider becoming a patron for as little as $3 a month. You will get exclusive early access to episodes, exclusive content, exclusive episodes. Man, word. And I would just really appreciate it. Thank you so much, moms supporting moms, making motherhood matter. Bye, guys.